We are taking extremely inexpensive foam board and making beautiful upscale looking wall art with it. I made these two pieces of art for literally a few dollars, and you can too, whether you have ever painted anything in your life or not. I bought two pieces of foam board. I am using, as you can see, patching plaster. You can use a spackle, a joint compound. They're all almost the same thing. Whatever's easier to work with for you and the cheapest. If it's one of the thicker materials, you can and should add just a little bit of water to thin it out, and it will make it easier to work with. I spread it out in no particular pattern, except that I did want to just keep the texture going just horizontally or vertically, not diagonally or swoopy. But obviously, you can do any pattern you want. You could try big swirls, you could do circles, shapes, whatever you want. I'm using a scraper / putty knife, whatever you call those. You do want to wait till it's completely dry. I started with the base color. You could use any kind of paint, acrylic paint. I'm using some acrylic and some chalk type paint. Any paint that's water-based. You wouldn't want to use oil-based paint. And then I did want more varied marks in it later, so I used a little palette knife. I started obviously with a smaller brush and a smaller palette knife, but that was trial and error, and that was mostly error, so then I switched to a very wide brush. I knew that I personally wanted a neutral color palette, like creams, tans, khaki, and then some black maybe. Obviously, you can use whatever colors that you would like. I put all the products I used in the description box just so you have them. I used an acrylic sealer, and you would want to be sure to do this as well. Use some sort of water-based sealer so that the spackle or the compound isn't fragile and crumbly. Once you add a coat of sealer over it, it will be fairly durable. You cannot mess this up. Just put whatever layers of paint or texture or color you want. It adds dimension. It makes it look expensive and professional. I made smaller brush marks first and then the lines from the palette knife. Then I added really wide strokes on top of it. Depending on how much time or little time that you want to spend on it, you could keep going indefinitely. Don't do that though. It doesn't have to be foam board. It can be poster board or cardboard, any kind of board that you want. Real boards, wood. To hang these, you don't want to use the typical sort of metal hardware. Foam board is definitely not sturdy. So I used those flat adhesive hangers that are made for like hanging posters and other very light, flat wall hangings, wall decor. You can get them just pretty much anywhere. And then I got also inexpensive black frames from Hobby Lobby that makes it look smashing. Mostly, I hope you can see how inexpensive and then how easy this is to make even really large wall art instead of spending a lot of money